Rita, thank you. Good evening and welcome to Friday's Look North. Our top story tonight. Helping get a good night's sleep. The scheme to give under fives a free bed if parents can't afford one.
Having a perfect place for a baby to sleep gives you a comfort as a mum. Now it takes you off the worry of, oh, how am I going to get this cot for my child? Where am I going to get it from?
It's part of a project to tackle poverty in South Yorkshire. Also tonight, a mum's guide to Goldenhar syndrome. We hear from Lucia, a 12-year-old with a rare condition, hoping to help other families. Party about potholes. Could this sticky substance be the solution to motorist woes?
Well, this has to be one of the most relaxing ways to get around Leeds, but there's a bit about the water taxi service that you might not know. So join me, Twee and Dree a little bit later in the programme.
And it's been lovely out there today with good spells of sunshine, but will it last over the weekend?
Hello and thank you for watching. First tonight, every child up to the age of 5 in South Yorkshire is to be given a bed if their parents can't afford to get one for them. It's all part of a new scheme to tackle bed poverty, which is being funded by the Mayor. Recent figures suggest that 1 in 3 children in our region are living in poverty. And in Sheffield, 33% of children live in poverty, which is 4% higher than the national average. A recent report from Barnardo's indicates there are 900,000 children living in bed poverty in the UK. That means they often sleep on a floor or sofa or have to share a bed. In Leeds, the charity Zarak has been fighting bed poverty since 2018. But now, for the first time, government money is being used by the Mayor of South Yorkshire to fund a £2.2 million scheme to give beds to children who need them. Rowan Bridge was given exclusive access as the first bed was delivered.
If, like Majesty here, you're 11 weeks old, where you're sleeping isn't really what you're concentrating on. But for a mum, it's a much bigger concern. Now, though, she's become the first parent to benefit from the new scheme.
For me, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's having a perfect place for a baby to sleep gives you a comfort as a mum. Now it takes you off the worry of, oh, how am I going to get this cot for my child? Where am I going to get it from? How am I going to purchase it? You know, it takes all those thinking away from you and, you know, you could use that energy for something else.
The scheme will provide a free bed for any child up to 5 in South Yorkshire who needs one.
This is our national warehouse.
This warehouse in Sheffield's the front line in tackling what's known as bed poverty.
In 2023, 1 in 10 babies born in Sheffield received a Moses Basket Starter Pack from Baby Basics Sheffield. We hear stories from our referrers of 2-year-olds sleeping in baths, 6-week-olds sleeping in bouncy chairs, children sleeping on carpets on the floor without a mattress or on a sofa. And I think we also know that for every bed we're providing, there is a parent sleeping on a floor.
As well as a bed, the pack contains everything a child needs to get to sleep. Families will be referred to the scheme by frontline workers and groups such as churches. They say the lack of an appropriate bed impacts everyone.
Parents don't get a good night's sleep, kids don't get a good night's sleep. If they're trying to get older children to school and they've not been to sleep, then it affects their schooling. It just has so many knock-on effects. It just crushes people.
Here?
The Office of the South Yorkshire Mayor is funding the scheme for 4 years.
Okay. What do we need?
We need the cots, the mattress and the bedding bundle.
Mayor Oliver Coppard joined us as the first bed was handed over.
Hello. We've got a bed for you.
Even he accepts, though, there's more to do.
Families take their babies home and face all sorts of struggles to feed their baby, clothe their baby, give the babies everything that they deserve and need, and that's why we stepped into that first bit of their life. We would love to do more, and over time we will do more, but the most urgent need was somewhere to sleep, and that's why we stepped in with the Beds for Babies project.
I see what's inside. So that looks like a set of pyjamas. Majesty, it seems, wasn't all that excited about being the first to benefit from the scheme, but it's hoped it'll make a real difference to the lives of all those who follow her. Rowan Bridge, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
Next tonight, a man who told police he had no regrets after taking part in a riot in Rotherham has been jailed for 2 years and 8 months. 24-year-old Brad Westerman from Goldthorpe was filmed throwing items through a window of the Holiday Inn Express in Manvers early this month. Ollie Constable was in court for us today.
Westerman was filmed smashing the windows of the Holiday Inn Express in Manvers on the 4th of August. It was violence like this that the judge said was so severe that people in the hotel were fearful for their lives during a truly shocking and outrageous incident. This was him here in the grey, seconds after a window on the ground floor had been smashed. When he was arrested, he told police he had no regrets for what he had done, taking part in the violence. The judge said he had a vile attitude, with the 24-year-old pleading guilty to a charge of violent disorder. Today, we also heard about the police officers who had been injured. The number had risen to 64, with some officers still being off work. 3 police horses and a police dog who needed treatment had recovered and returned to duty. The judge said that the fact that that number of police officers and animals were injured is a measure of how serious this incident was. Jailing the Barnsley man to 2 years and 8 months in prison, the judge said that it was a sentence he richly deserved. Ollie Constable, BBC Look North at Sheffield Crown Court.
You're watching Friday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. The rower from Halifax who single-handedly rowed across the Atlantic, and if that wasn't enough, he took the difficult route. The mum of a 12-year-old from North Yorkshire with a rare condition that affects the face and body has created a guide to support families navigating the condition. Rebecca Hitchen's daughter was born with Goldenhar syndrome and found that the lack of information available at the time left her feeling anxious and isolated. Elizabeth Baines takes up her story.
For the last 8 weeks, the Hitchen family has been basking in the newborn bubble. Since Rebecca welcomed summer into the world, her days and nights, like any new mum, have revolved around feeding and changing. But 12 years ago, Rebecca's newborn bubble looked very different. After a completely healthy pregnancy, her oldest daughter, Lucia, was born with Goldenhar syndrome.
I was in complete shock. I just didn't understand sort of how that had happened. How had it not been detected? How had it happened? Why did it happen? You know, what was going on? It was in disbelief, really.
Goldenhar syndrome is a rare disorder that affects the development of the face and body. Lucia was born with a wide mouth, cleft lip and skin tags. She had a first operation at 3 months old and has had a lifetime of doctor's appointments ever since.
It took away some of the joy of having a new baby because I was having to deal with stress and be at the hospital all the time. Everywhere I went I had to explain. Once I had a situation where somebody thought that she might have been in a fire. There was a suggestion that perhaps I'd injured Lucia, which was absolutely awful because she'd not long come back from a big operation that she'd had.
Despite the stigma and limited professional support at the start of her life, Rebecca says Lucia has thrived throughout childhood. Determined to show other families they can do the same, Rebecca has dived into research, studying a master's at Leeds Beckett University and creating the Goldenhar Guide.
I'm actually really proud of her. First of all, it's taken her years and a lot of effort and a lot of trips to Leeds. But it gives other families reassurance. There is help.
The Goldenhar Guide offers support for families navigating the condition. It's based on Rebecca's research and uses real-life stories of adults living with Goldenhar. It's already being distributed to doctors up and down the country, so families don't fear their future. Elizabeth Baines, BBC Look North, Bedale.
Well done to them. Hopefully many other people will benefit going forward as well. Now here's a perennial problem that we talk about often here on Look North, potholes. It's an issue that we come back to time and time again, and in Derbyshire it's a problem they know all too well. Last year the county was named as having the highest number of potholes per region in the UK, according to data from the RAC. They found over 90,000 potholes in the area. Well, earlier this year, the council wrote an open letter to residents apologising for what they called a massive increase in the number of potholes in the county. Now, a new way of filling potholes in is being trialled, and it uses a new material made using recycled tyres. That's produced by a company in Sheffield. Dave Edwards explains.
Potholes, the scourge of the modern motorist. But could this be part of the solution? The material being heated up is about to be used to fill some potholes here in Dronfield. It's called Road Mender Asphalt, which is made using old tyres.
It's a recycled material. It's got a rubber flex in it, so it's quite flexible. It allows us to seal up defects without actually having to excavate, so there's no manual handling. It cuts out all the cutting and the halves and vibration, and it also does a lasting repair.
The material is produced by a company based in Sheffield. The team here can cover 60 to 70 square metres a day. That's much more than before, and it sets quickly, so it's ready for traffic within minutes.
Earlier this year, Derbyshire County Council wrote an open letter saying sorry for what it called a massive increase in the number of potholes. It put part of the blame on last winter's bad weather and promised that things would improve.
We're trying to do bigger resurfacing repairs as far as budgets can stretch, and we're pushing for additional budgets and funding from both the regional mayor and also from government, but also materials like this and new techniques like this will hopefully mean that we won't have to come back to the same pothole hotspots time and again.
And the work has attracted attention from local residents, keen that their road would be next.
The road surface is just disintegrating. When the road sweeper comes in, he only does one side of the road, because if he swept in front of mine, he'd take half the road away. Because I'm now down to the subcore, which is the big lumps of limestone, I think they are. We know that what they've been putting in only lasts a short time, but this looks really good. I'm really impressed.
What we've seen today is part of a 3-month trial scheme, which the council could then extend. These repairs should last at least 5 years. Dave Edwards, BBC Look North, Dronfield.
I can't get time to get some news in brief. We'll stay on a roads theme because parts of the M62 will be closed overnight until October as resurfacing work begins. National Highways will be working on the motorway around junction 25 at Brighouse from Monday evening. The carriageway will be resurfaced in both directions and joints will be replaced on motorway bridges. Campaigners trying to buy a former reservoir in York that was earmarked for private sale have had their first offer rejected. The owners of Severus Hill near Holgate put the site up for auction last October after deciding they had no use for the land. The Friends of Severus Hill have since raised almost £100,000. They say they're going to continue their fight.
It's an important space, as are many spaces like this across the country. And it's sad that as a community we have to do that. But actually, you know, speaking to some historians, Roman historians, this is not a new concept. You know, when a community valued something, they put their money where their mouth was, and they say.
A series of weekend strikes by train drivers on main route through Yorkshire has been called off. LNER drivers who are members of the ASLEF union had planned to walk out every weekend until mid-November. But the union has now told the BBC that a resolution has been reached. Now, thousands of people in York have signed a petition calling for the council to reconsider proposed changes to how street traders are licensed. Traders are warning their businesses will fold if a new policy is introduced. The City of York Council says the policy is still in the early stages of development and will take the feedback it has received into account. Heidi Tomlinson has this report.
Oh, chocolate ice cream, no problem. Would you like
On a sunny day in peak season, Tom Jackson can serve up to 500 ice creams from his stall in York's St Sampson's Square. And at £3 each, it's clear why this pitch is the cream of the crop.
My family started the business about 40 years ago.
But now change is afoot, as the City of York Council is proposing a new street trading policy, which could mean sellers are forced out at peak times or have to pay an extra fee to keep their usual spot.
It's really upsetting. They've left a massive question mark over the future of our business. You know, am I going to be able to afford my mortgage next year? You know, we've got a 3-year-old, so sleeps at a premium anyway, but when you're waking up at 6 in the morning thinking about this policy, hang on, sorry. Sorry.
So this is pretty much the place to be for footfall in York. It's a compact city,
A short stroll in that direction, you'll find the Minster. Turn left by M&S down there, you'll get to the Shambles. And just around the corner at King's Square is the Chocolate Story. Opposite the Chocolate Story is a lemonade stall, which also depends on the peak season influx. Any proposal to exclude the business from seasonal events would make it unprofitable.
If you visit us in January, March, October, those are the years where we just try to stay afloat and keep our staff so that we can keep going for the next season. So it is, to say that it's worrying is probably an understatement.
The City of York Council says the street trading policy is still in the early stages of development and that feedback from a consultation will be taken into account. For now, all street traders' consents have been extended until March. After that, confidence in the future is melting away. Heidi Tomlinson, BBC Look North, York.
OK, thanks, Heidi. Let's turn to sport. Another day of our region's athletes at the Paralympic Games in Paris. There was a win in the mixed wheelchair rugby this morning. It was a nail-bitingly close game against Denmark, which finished 55-53. Wakefield's Jamie Stead played a vital role, including scoring the final try. Gavin Walker from Rotherham also picked up points. The team go on to the next round tomorrow when they take on France. And on to a match currently in action in the para badminton. Jack Shepherd from Chesterfield is currently in the lead against Vitor Tavares from Brazil in the men's singles SH6 group stages. It'll be a busy evening for Jack too, as he's also in a doubles match against China later this evening. OK, let's turn to football now. We're just a few hours away from the end of transfer deadline day. Midfielder Ao Tanaku is now set to spend the next 4 years with Leeds United. He's come over from Germany. Meanwhile, Sheffield United will be saying goodbye to Anis Slimani for the season as he heads to Norwich City. It's also expected that Austin Trusty will be leaving the club too, but that hasn't yet been confirmed. Manager Chris Wilder said today that he was confident that no one else will be moving.
I'm under the impression that that's it, and basically nobody will be going out, and nobody will be coming in. So we'll work with the group that we've got. The assessment of the window in terms of what we've tried to do is in my opinion, has been pretty impressive.
And you can keep up to date with all the latest transfer deadline updates on the BBC Sports website. Now, I don't know about you, but I quite enjoy, who doesn't, a little boat trip. But I'm not sure I'd be quite as happy if my boat capsized or sprung a leak. But that's exactly what happened to one man from Halifax while he was in the middle of the ocean on his own. Tom Waddington is only the 9th person to cross the Atlantic by this particular route. That's the hard one. We'll be speaking to Tom in just a moment or two, but about his adventure. But first, just take a look at who was keeping him company on his epic journey.
I'm 2 hours in now to rowing with these thousands of whales. One thing the boat earlier, but I don't know what to do. But I can't believe it. It's an amazing sight, but also so scary.
Well, I'm glad to say Tom's with us now. Tom, congratulations. An amazing feat. What was that moment like? Because to me, I would be a bit worried about all those whales.
Thank you. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. You know, it was like being in David Attenborough documentary. But then suddenly one hit the boat and it was pretty loud and shook the boat. And I started to get a bit worried. I was worried about my rudder. So it was scary, but wonderful at the same time.
How long were they with you for?
For about 2 hours.
Wow.
And it was just migrating whales. There's thousands, honestly.
Wow. And, they're fairly large, aren't they, as well, in comparison to what your vessel, I suppose.
Yeah, and as I was rowing, I could see their eyes. I could see them coming next to me. I could hear them. I was actually trying to row away from them, but they just were really curious and they wanted to row with me. So
I'm sure. First of all, I mean, this is an amazing thing to do, but I suppose most of our viewers will ask why.
Well, look, I was looking for a big challenge. I went through some tough times myself with mental health. I was struggling with grief. We went back into a second lockdown, and one of the best things I did at the time was actually reach out and ask for help and speak to somebody. So I wanted to raise awareness for people suffering with mental health and raise funds for the charity Mind.
Just tell us, I mean, we're seeing some pictures now, tell us about the route you took, because it wasn't conventional, was it?
No, so not many people do the North Atlantic. I started in Newfoundland, Canada, and I rode 2,000 miles, rowing about 16 hours a day. I was meant to finish in Penzance, but a storm hit, and so I finished in the Isles of Scilly.
Intriguingly, now, you're in a boat for, what, 38 days? Were you 40 days?
35 days.
35 days?
No, sorry, 45 days.
Right,
yeah.
45 days. So when you got back onto dry land, when you'd finished, obviously the elation of finishing, but tell me what happened next.
Well, I actually climbed up the ladders and I just started to walk and I just fell over. And I was struggling to walk for the next day, just feeling a little bit drunk actually. So.
And that's simply because you'd been on the water for that length of time?
Yeah, my legs were just not used to walking again.
Yeah. Tell us about the funds, because you've raised a heck of an amount of money as well, haven't you?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, the people who got behind, the supporters. We've raised £70,000 for the charity Mind on my page, and then with one of my sponsors, Tritaximetry, we raised another 30,000. So we've raised overall £100,000 for the charity.
Congratulations. Briefly, in 10 seconds or so, sum it up, would you do it again?
I wouldn't do it again, but it was an amazing experience and I learned a lot.
Well, I have to say, you're looking very well on it. You've got that kind of beach-ready look, Tom. I like the beard and the tan. But many congratulations, an amazing thing to do, and thank you for coming in and sharing your story tonight.
Brilliant, thank you, Phil.
All the best. Now, from one boat trip to another. This is one's a little bit more sedate, I would suggest. The water taxis on Leeds Canal are celebrating 10 years in the city. They're putting on evening cruises to mark the anniversary, and Corinne Wheatley has joined us for one tonight. Corinne, it's all yours.
Thanks, Phil. Yes, welcome aboard. We're on the Leeds water taxis. Now, you might recognise these lovely yellow boats that run up and down the River Aire. They've been running for 10 years now, but did you know the boats actually hail from Amsterdam? We're on Dree tonight. Its twin is called Twee. They are ever so sweetly named, aren't they? But the translation is a little bit less exciting. It just means 2 and 3. We spent some time with the wonderfully knowledgeable skipper Simon and his passengers today.
So from the white building back there, that's the old waterways office.
It's really fantastic. It's so beautiful. I'm so excited. It is the first time when we travel this taxi.
Well, it's bits of Leeds you don't normally see, like the old mills and if you're looking for things like kingfishers, it's great.
Just a really nice enjoy, especially on a day like this. It's amazing.
We've been to the Royal Armouries, train station to there and back, it's perfect. A bit of leisure to see as well.
We're actually from the Netherlands, so this is actually really, really unique to Leeds, I think.
It's a piece of home from home for you then.
So it's a nice way to actually see the city in a quite sustainable way as well.
Well, the taxi service runs between Leeds Dock and Granary Wharf, and the owner of Leeds Dock, Alex Webb, is with me now. Alex, they've proved to be really successful, these boats, over the years, haven't they?
Yeah, so we're approaching 1 million trips over the 10-year period and hope to reach that by mid-October. It'd be great if you come down and help us reach that target. It'd be brilliant.
Now, what are you doing to celebrate the 10th anniversary?
So yeah, during the summer, during August, we launched our Summer River Cruise. It's an hour cruise towards Nostril Block and it's sold out straight away, so we extended the run through September.
Fantastic. Well, if you take up one of these evening cruises, you're invited to bring a picnic along with you, which is exactly what our passengers have done tonight. Here they are, enjoying some lovely snacks and each other's company in style. Al fresco dining, as Lawrence the skipper is saying. Yeah, Lawrence is one of the skippers. Lawrence, what is it that you love about working on the waterways?
Well, it's never the same river 2 days in a row. But for me personally, quite apart from enjoying the interaction with the passengers and delivering a good service and all that, I enjoy how present I get to be in the job. Like, I'm not thinking about anything whilst I'm at the wheel. I'm not thinking about problems or what I'm having for tea or giving an interview for the BBC.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Lawrence. Well, one of the best things about taking a trip on the water taxis is the skippers know so much about Leeds history and can fill you in on all sorts of facts and stories about the history that you can see all around you. And if you fancy taking one of these evening cruises, they're running right through until the end of September on Friday and Saturday evenings. So take a look.
OK, Corinne, live on the waterways of Leeds. Thank you very much. Well, it's a right nautical end to the programme tonight, Kat, and with an evening like this evening,
beautiful.
It looks really super for a cruise on the river, doesn't it?
It really does, but it's going to turn unsettled over the weekend, and actually Sunday marks the 1st of September, which is the beginning of meteorological autumn, and so there is some expected unsettled weather on the way on Sunday and also into the start of next week. But you can see from our first Weather Watchers photo here, it was a beautiful start to the day, lots of sunshine. I actually picked this photo. I don't know if you can see, but that cloud just there looks a bit like a heart in the sky.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It does, doesn't it?
Now you pointed it out. Yeah.
The next picture just really goes to show how much sunshine remained in the sky through the course of the afternoon. Actually, the best of that sunshine along the coast, but it has been slightly cooler here today with that onshore breeze. So thank you as ever for sending in your Weather Watchers photo. If you'd like to have your picture featured on the telly, you can send it in to us via social media or head straight to the Weather Watchers website. So the better day of the weekend looks to be Saturday. There's going to be lots of sunshine around. It's going to stay dry for us. A bit more cloud around through Sunday with the risk of some heavy and thundery downpours, I think mostly through the course of the morning. That settled weather today is all thanks to this area of high pressure. That's going to slightly edge eastwards, but it's going to stay close by tomorrow to allow for another lovely day. Then this warm front's going to work its way northwards overnight on Saturday into Sunday, and that's what's going to bring warmer air, but we will be introduced to more cloud and some showers. So through the rest of tonight it is going to stay very settled. There'll be lengthy clear spells, bit of patchy cloud here and there. We may get the odd mist or fog patch with those light winds. Temperatures down to around 7 degrees. So actually a nippy start into tomorrow morning. See you next high waters then. We've got Whitby at 2 minutes past 3 tomorrow morning, and then Scarborough at 10 minutes past 3 tomorrow morning. So tomorrow looks to be a lovely start. There'll be plenty of sunshine through the morning. It's going to be dry. The afternoon stays largely dry. There will be a bit more cloud bubbling in from time to time, but it will be well broken to still allow for those sunny spells. Winds will pick up ever so slightly, so it's not going to be windy, but there will be a noticeable breeze around, and we're looking at highs of around 20 degrees, just slightly cooler again along the coast at 17, where you do have that onshore breeze, and then into the start of meteorological autumn, it will be unsettled.
Thank you, Katerina. I'm heading to Scarborough tomorrow, so I'll take a sweatshirt maybe.
Yes, for lots of sunshine for you.
Some good advice. I'll put the suntan cream on as well. Thank you for that. I'll be back with a late bulletin at 10:30 from Kat and me and all the team. Enjoy the rest of your Friday.